To go back to your question, which is the question of comparing the Quran journey in the UK to Medina. Now, without a shadow of a doubt, if you're in a place like Medina, which is filled with barakah, there's going to be more barakah in your hifz, without a doubt. You're going to find more barakah in your time, more barakah in your efforts. But one thing that I really need to mention, because I know that a lot of the viewers won't be able to have this opportunity to come here and spend some time here, I think it's actually better to be in the UK with hardship, studying in hardship, than it is to be somewhere like this, which is filled with barakah. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَن لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى وَأَنَّ سَعْيَهُ سَوْفَ يُرَى. People will have the reward of their effort, and their effort is going to be seen. If you got a job in sales, typically they'll give you a KPI, make 10, 20 sales per month. If you don't hit those numbers, even if you work 24/7, they don't care about your effort. I care about numbers. I care about how much business you're bringing me. So if you don't hit those KPIs, they'll kick you out, they'll fire you. But Allah, it's the opposite. Whatever you end up doing, if you put in maximal effort, Allah will give you maximal reward. Even if your maximal effort is just 5 pages of the Quran. If someone just opens a page and manages to memorize a page in 10 minutes, the reward for that person is less than someone who spends 5 hours trying to memorize it. It's not going in, but he puts that effort in. And so if you're in the UK and you have the busyness of 9 to 5, you have the busyness of family commitments, going out with your friends, wherever it may be, and you try your best to just make the Quran a centerpiece of your life, you trying your best is the thing that's going to yield you big rewards. And so definitely, I don't want anyone to be disheartened. It's definitely a blessing being here, but it's a blessing being over there too. SubhanAllah.
Allah alam the levels of the people that are watching, but I'm guessing there's going to be someone who is on level 0. So you want to hit that level, you know? Like, is it complicated? Is it simple? You know, how can they start? What do I have to do?
For memorization?
For just forget memorization, just to be a part of the Quran.
Look, when the shuyukh were talking, I had 2 things that were ringing in my head back and forth. And I think they're very powerful tips, which I think anyone can take and they can apply. 2 tips, if you want to be of people of the Quran. Tip number 1 is to realize that if you were to take an X-ray of the entire universe, the billions and trillions of galaxies, the only thing that would flash on the scan would be the Quran. It's quite literally out of this world. It's the thing that Allah has sent from external, from Him Himself, and placed it on this earth for us. When you have that realization, you feel like that this is something that's a gem. And to add on top of that, imagine that you have a deeply beloved person in your life. Could be your mother, could be your spouse, your sibling. Imagine that they went far, far away and there was no way to contact them whatsoever. And then suddenly you wake up after years of not seeing them and you truly miss them. That there's a letter that's posted through your door and it's got their handwriting on it. What would you do? How would you treat this letter? You'd rush to it, you'd open it, you'd read it not just once, hundreds of times, carefully pondering, reading it in their voice. You'd interact with it. How about the one who brought you to life? Gave you the ability to think, to speak, to listen, to hit, to do all of these things. Allah is the one that brought you into this life and has allowed you to enjoy these experiences that you're enjoying right now. Building relationships, being able to study, increase in knowledge. All of these are blessings from Allah. He's the one that gave you all of that. Your ability to love that person who gave you the love letter came from Allah. That feeling of love that you have came from Allah. And so if you have this realization and you truly internalize it, you will dedicate your life to the Quran, because this is the words of Allah. That's the first point. The second point that was ringing in my head, which I think will truly give people the drive, inshallah, is to realize that the scholars have said, Al-ilmu la yanalu duna ta'abi. Knowledge cannot be gained except by exerting effort and becoming tired. That's the only way that you're going to gain knowledge. If you think about any field, subhanallah, mathematics, in order to get to a position of being an engineer who's able to analyze the world around you, you have to go through the nitty-gritty of learning these quadratic formulas and x plus y equals z and all this algebra stuff. In the moment, and we've all studied algebra here, in the moment you think, what am I going to do with this? How is this going to benefit my life, right? You're confused. Why am I even studying this? It's so black and white. Pythagoras theorem, when am I going to use that in my life? But only after years and years and years of going through that, do you then apply it and you become an engineer. And it's actually, you see the fruits of it there and then. And so similarly, if you want to become a person of the Quran, you have to realize that there will be times when you're repeating and you're repeating and you're repeating, like, why am I even doing this? My effort's going to waste. You'll feel like giving up. But that persistence will get you to the point where you will realize that it was the best thing you've ever done. It's kind of like going to the gym, isn't it? If you go for the very first time, you don't have any muscles whatsoever. If you pick up the 50 kg, what's going to happen? You're going to snap in half. But if you were to pick up the first weight, realize that it's a journey and you have to persist with it, the muscles get bigger and bigger and bigger over time, and the weights get bigger and you're able to handle more. And so if you want to get into the Quran and you hear people saying, oh, I'm reading 5 juz a day, I'm reading X number amounts of juz a day, that's not where you're at right now. Just realize that Allah looks at your efforts and put the effort in. Start with 1 page. If you can increase to 2, increase to 2. Maybe start memorizing when you're in a position where you're comfortable to read, but build it. It's like a journey from start to finish. Just like someone who goes to the gym will tell you, I've been to the gym for 5 years and now I look like this. You're only just starting, and Allah knows best where you're going to be in 5 years as well.